guys, it's Andrew and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am super excited for this video because I think it's been a long time in coming and I think that it's been a highly requested video of mine. So without further ado, here it is. Here is the advice I wish I had for every high school grade and just things I knew before entering high school as someone who just graduated high school. So this will be like a little big sister chat moment where I give you guys all advice and hopefully it's really helpful and will reassure you guys because I know that high school is a stressful time and there's a lot of worry and panic about your future. So hopefully this will help you guys out, and yeah, let's just get started. Hopefully you've already subscribed, but if you haven't already, please make sure you do because I'm going to be giving a bunch more advice videos like this in the future and just sharing my student life with you guys and hopefully just being able to help you guys out on your journey as well. So make sure you consider liking and subscribing, and let's just get started. So I did do a bit of planning before this video just because I wanted to make sure I said everything that I wanted to say. So I do have the whole list of everything I want to share with you guys right now. And I think we're just gonna get started. So let's just start with general advice. So advice for anyone who's in high school right now and things that I think are really important lessons that you need to realize and just be aware of. So number one, I think that especially in the younger grades, this isn't something that really hits you, but failure is inevitable. Especially if you're in older grades, you'll realize this. You've failed so many times, and I think that it's so important to learn from your failures and that it's completely all right. Rejections, failures, mistakes, they're completely normal and it's all part of the learning process. You know, you're only in high school. There's so much more for you to learn and for you guys to grow because you are still so young. I know it might feel like you're old now that you're in your teen years, but no, you have so much more ahead of you and it's completely all right to be making mistakes, making, you know, silly little mistakes when you're in high school, and it's all right. I remember I was watching a TED talk actually, and I don't remember which one it was, but I remember the person said that 9 out of 10 times you'll fail. So for anyone who's struggling with failure rejection right now, know that it's completely normal and that you're meant to fail majority of the time. It's just all part of the process, and I think that you should really trust yourself and trust that there is something better for you coming. And I think I have a really good example of this actually. So basically back in my junior year, I was applying for jobs and stuff, and then there was this job that I really wanted. It was as a piano teacher and I really wanted this job. It paid like I think $25 an hour and I loved the interviewer. I think it was a really good opportunity for me and I remember just really wanting it so badly. I did not get it and I remember being so upset, but I think a couple months after that I was offered a summer job at another piano place. Actually no, it was a community center and they were offering me $30 an hour, so I got paid more and it was over the summer, so I had the time to do it. I think it was just all part of the process, you know, getting rejected and then getting something better. Just know that there's always something better for you out there and that you really just have to trust yourself and trust that life will take you where you need to be. I think that's so incredibly important and it's a lesson that we're always learning, you know, no matter what stage you are in life, you will get rejected and you'll feel like it's the end of the world, but it's really not, and just trust yourself. And yeah, so that is the first piece of advice that I want to give you guys. The second one that I think it's really helpful is to set up goals. Goals for the school years and goals for just being in high school. So for example, you might want to set up goals for the upcoming school year maybe, and I really don't think that these should be just academic goals, but goals for your personal life and for friendships. Just being able to know what you want and to work towards these goals, I think it's incredibly important, especially if you have somewhere you want to be, like in post-secondary or just after high school. I think it's important to have a plan or to have some sort of motivation to get yourself through high school, through the school year. So yeah, I think that for sure, just make sure you set up goals. Maybe they can be small goals like prioritizing your mental health in the coming school year. Just reflect on the troubles you had the year before and try to change it up a little bit so that you don't have the same troubles, because if you're making these same mistakes or you dislike parts of your life from the year before, you can change them. It's completely up to you. And just by setting goals, you already feel motivated to work towards those goals. And I think it's incredibly important to just have a place in life where you want to be. So yeah, try to set up goals. Maybe they can be like academic goals, like I want to get straight A's this year. That's all right, but you have to be able to work towards them, have like actual steps that you can break down. And I think also just make sure you have personal goals as well, like taking care of your mental health. Maybe it's getting a job or networking so that you are able to get a job in the future easier, I guess. Lastly, as Jenna writes, to explore interests, because I think that there's no better time than in high school. You'll have the most freedom, and unlike middle school or elementary school, you're not really bounded by your parents or just being too young to go out in the world and do what you want to do. You can take a bus and go take some lessons if you really want to. You just have the freedom to explore your interests and just try new things out. And I think it's so incredibly important because it's never too late to start. You know, even in your adult years, you could be exploring your interests, but especially in high school, you have that freedom. So I think it's incredibly important for you to go after it. Like, I've seen people start interest in their sophomore and junior years, and I think I remember them saying that they've enjoyed it a lot. So it's never too late to start, and it'll give you new experiences that you'll remember for the rest of your life, to make new friendships. So just go out into the world and explore what you are genuinely passionate about. Okay, so now I'm going to be moving on to the more specific advice. So for specific grades, if you want to just scroll to your grade, I will put timestamps down there so that you can do that if you want. So for those of you who don't know, I am Canadian, so I'm going to be starting off with giving advice for grade 8s and grade 9s in Canada, because unlike the US, or at least in my area, we have from grade 8 to grade 12 as high school, so we don't have middle school. At least in my area, we don't. I know that I think up a bit they do, but not where I'm living and not in my city. So I'm just gonna be giving general advice for grade 9 and grade 8. Grade 8 and grade 9 in Canada. If you don't live in Canada, I don't recommend you taking this advice, because I've actually posted this advice on my TikTok and I got backlash because I was saying something that wasn't true in the US and everyone was pretty mad at me about it. So if you're not in the US, don't listen to it. If you're in the US, don't listen to this. But if you live in Canada and you're in grade 8 or grade 9, you need to listen up. Because if I could go back in time and talk to my grade 8 or grade 9 self, I would literally beat her up for this. It was so unnecessary and so stupid, but I remember crying over my grades because they were not what I wanted, and it was so stupid because your grades don't matter in grade 8 and grade 9 in Canada. Okay? Do not worry about them. No one's gonna see them. They literally don't matter. I genuinely believe that those 2 years are for you to learn how to study and learn your areas of weakness. And I don't think they're for you to stress about those grades, because it's not worth it, okay? Trust me, as someone who cried over their grades, it was so stupid and it was just a waste of my energy. So don't make that mistake that I did. It's not worth it, okay? Really, I know that they may seem like a big deal, especially since you're in high school now, but in Canada, universities are not going to see those grades, okay? They only see some of your grade 10 marks, but not a lot. I think just math and maybe English, and then your grade 11, grade 12 grade. So do not stress. Just learn how to study, learn how you study best, and learn which areas that you might struggle a little bit more. So maybe you could get a tutor for your grade 11, grade 12 years, or just work extra hard on those. So yeah, that is the one piece of advice for all you Canadians out there. Okay, so I'm gonna be moving on to rising freshmen. So to my Canadian audience, that is you grade 9s. So some advice I wish I gave myself: put yourself out there, make friends. This is advice that I don't know why, but I did not follow or care about in grade 9 or grade 8, and I regret this so much because I remember there were people who wanted to be friends with me, and I don't know why, but I just did not want to have friends, and it was really bad. But trust me when I say that friendships are really important. Yes, it's important to learn how to be okay with yourself, but sometimes you just need friends, you know? You need them to hang out and you need them to, talk and rant about, your life. It's really important that you have friends. I think it's so incredibly important that you make close friendships. So just put yourself out there. I know it can be scary, and I think that's a main reason why I did not socialize as much as I should have, but just trust me when I say that. Just do it, okay? In in your grade 12 year, in your senior year, when you graduate and all that stuff, it's not gonna matter the little mistakes you made, okay? Just try and put yourself out there, and hopefully you'll have so much fun and make so many good memories. So moving on, let's see what else I have here. Oh yeah, also just something to add on about the friendship things. I don't know what it is, but I feel like your freshman friend group is so important because, not to scare you guys, but those friend groups often stick, and like they basically, that's your friend group for most of your high school career, especially as you move on, because I think most people don't like trying to find a new friend group outside their own. So usually those friend groups don't just stick, and if you aren't part of those friend groups, it's harder to make friends in the older years just because everyone has their own already. But the one thing I will say is that if you have a big friend group, be careful because I can almost guarantee you that your friend group will break up. I've seen large friend groups in grade 8, grade 9, and they always break up the smaller ones. So just be cautious and have some close friends because those big friend groups don't last, and often there's a lot of drama happening between some people in those groups. So just make sure you have some really close friends and just be careful of who you trust. Okay, and then sticking with the friend group theme, trust me when I say the high school drama is so petty and so stupid. I think that you should try to avoid it at all costs because it's just so unnecessary, and the things you fight about in high school are really just dumb and they're really petty. Like when you grow up, there's gonna be arguments that are a lot more serious and just a lot more, there's a lot more consequences involved. So any drama you get into in high school, it's gonna be really tame and just stupid compared to those. So try to avoid it at all costs because I've seen my fair share of drama, and it's all pretty stupid, honestly. Like, especially as you grow up, you realize that everything you did and all the drama you were in your younger years was kind of embarrassing. Okay, so here's a piece of advice actually I wish someone told me, but your teachers are human as well. I remember looking up to my teachers in grade 8 and grade 9, and I think that yes, it's important to respect them, but also remember that they are human as well and they make mistakes. And I think the reason why I'm saying this is that I think that you should advocate for yourself. If you see a mistake that they made or you don't agree with their marking, talk to them because you can take that initiative and try to get your grade to be boosted a little. They might make some mistakes or you might disagree. Just talk to them. Especially, this is advice I think that as you grow up and you go into your junior, senior year where your grades matter, I think that you should really try and advocate for yourself. But especially, I say this advice as I say and give this advice to freshmen because I know most of them, they are a little more timid and scared of their teachers. But trust me, just advocate for yourself. Just try and put yourself out there because I remember really looking up to my teachers and I don't anymore. So, as a freshman, just try to stand up for yourself. And honestly, just going back to the whole teachers thing, like as you grow older, I feel like you not I wouldn't say respect, but I think you see your teachers in a different light. You see that you get more annoyed with them, and if they are not teaching fairly, you sort of get that now, and you don't blame yourself, you start to blame them because really you shouldn't be blaming yourself for getting bad grades in a class where the teacher doesn't teach. And I think it's important to realize that it's not always your fault. Some of it can also be on your teacher, so don't, blame yourself too much as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna be moving on to my sophomore year, and unfortunately, to all my sophomores out there, I don't have too much advice for you guys just because that was during my COVID year, and I remember I only went to school like 2 hours a day during my sophomore year, so there's not a lot of advice I can give you, but I do have some. Let's just get into it because honestly there's not a lot for you guys. I'm sorry. First of all, just get into a volunteering position. I think this is incredibly important, not just for college apps, but if you want to be employed, this is where you can get experience and show employers that you have some experience. So I think it's incredibly important to get into a volunteer position. Bonus points if you can get into a leadership position because it shows your interest, and especially for college, it shows that you can take initiative and that you are a leader, which they always like to see. It's incredibly important for you to learn how to study efficiently. Don't waste your time spending hours and hours studying from one subject. It is not worth it. I understand that for you guys watching the US, your grades might matter a lot more than if you were in Canada like I am, but I think that overall, you are going to get a lot more work and a lot more homework and studying to do in your junior and senior. So I think it's incredibly important for you to learn how to study efficiently. Start looking into active recall and exploring different study methods so that you are aware of what works well for you and what doesn't work well for you, because in your junior and senior year you're gonna need it. I have a bunch of advice for this on my TikTok, but also I am starting up a small business, and in that business I've created a little guide. I'll put the title right there, but essentially it's like a guide to teach you what study methods to use during what scenario. If you're interested in that, I am going to be selling it on my Etsy soon. My goal is to make it, no, I think I planned already to make it under $5. So if you're interested, there's also that. And yeah, so that's, some advice. And, if you don't want to pay for that, that's also all right. You can search it up online, search up what study methods work for you. There's a bunch of resources out there for you. So make sure you just learn what study method works well for you, because I think, I don't know what to call it, but active recall works really well. And I think you should definitely look into that, because I think the other one, I think it's called passive learning or whatever that is, that does not work. And if you're doing that, I would highly recommend you switch over. So passive, I don't know if it's called passive recall, passive learning, but that it just involves rereading your notes and rereading your textbook. And trust me when I say that wastes so much of your time and it doesn't work. So definitely look into active recall. Okay, and lastly, get closer with your friends and classmates. Again, like I mentioned, if you're in a big group, expect that big group to fall apart. I'm sorry, I'm not preying on your downfall, but it happens. I don't think there's a single big group in our grade anymore as a senior. Like, they just often fall apart and you form smaller groups. So get close with the friends you're genuinely interested in. And also, it's nice to have close relationships because you can ask them for homework help. I think that was something that was so incredibly helpful when I was making friends, is just being able to ask them for help, because maybe the teacher was busy, or if I was away for some reason, I could just ask them. And it's just so nice having those friends that you can count on and rely on. Okay, unfortunately, that is all the advice I have for you sophomores out there. So we're going to be moving on to junior year. So moving on to my juniors. If you're a junior in high school, honestly, good luck. Even with the stress of college applications, college decisions, and for me, I was an IB student, so IB exams, I think that my junior year was so much worse than my senior year. Because at least in your senior year, you know that the end is coming. You know that you're almost there and that the finish line, you can basically see it. But junior year, you're just, chugging along. You have so many tests. You're worried about your grades constantly, and there's no end in sight, I think, which can be so incredibly, frustrating and challenging because you have so much uncertainty. But I will say, I think that something so incredibly important for you to realize is that grades aren't the only thing that matters. Especially if you're working on college applications, you can't get into good school without having extracurriculars and all that stuff. So remember that grades are generally not the most important thing. And also, I genuinely believe that the university or college you go to does not matter as much as you think it does. Like, for example, in my area, there are two main colleges or universities that people like to go to. One is known to be more successful and the better university, and I'm not going to that one because I got rejected. But that university, like after doing research, because I got rejected, I was wondering whether I should transfer or not. But then I realized that no matter which university you went to, the likelihood of you getting a job here I'll just say I live in British Columbia, so in near the Vancouver area, the odds of you getting a job here are the exact same. So really, trust me when I say that the university you go to does not matter as you think it does. Like for me, whether I'm going to that university or the one I'm going to right now, my odds of getting a job really depend on my experience and just there whether I go to that one or this one, it's nearly the exact same. So trust me when I say the university you go to does not matter as much as you think it does. But I will say the one thing that you need is experience. So try to get into internship, trying to get into co-ops no matter what university you go to, because that's what's going to get you employed. Trust me, especially in this day and age, it's so incredibly hard to find a job. Experience is literally one of the only things that matter. Okay, you're still a junior. Why am I ranting about college? One thing that I really think you need to do is you need to learn how to time manage, because you're gonna have so much to do, extracurriculars, lots of homework, maybe you're starting a job. You need to learn how to time manage. There are so many methods to do so. There is Notion, Planner. Something I like to do is just time block my day in the morning so I know when I'm gonna do something. Make sure you are organized and you are on top of everything, because it's gonna be so stressful if you aren't. And honestly, if you're procrastinating, you're gonna be ending up pulling all-nighters, and trust me, it's not fun. Oh, and also I think something so incredibly important as you are getting closer to college applications is that now is the time to be forming close relationships with your teacher. And the reason why I say this is because you are going to need references for college. Your senior year, you apply basically like really early in October, I would say that area. And if you ask for a reference from your grade 12 teacher, they will not know you well enough because you've only started school in September, right? So I think it's so incredibly important to get close with your junior year teachers and have someone that you know will advocate for you and be your reference. If you're a rising senior, congrats, you are almost there, 9 more months and you're finally out of high school. It's a stressful time though, especially in the beginning, because you're just starting school and all of a sudden you have college apps to worry about. It's gonna be so incredibly stressful in that first beginning, and then closer to the end where your college decisions come out. Advice for the college application process: stay organized. Keep track of the application due dates. Keep track of your progress. I actually do have a little college application organization Notion that is free. I'll put what it looks like here. I'll link it down below. Yeah, just stay on top of everything because it's gonna come quick. It's gonna come in a blur, and you know, just stay organized. Make sure you do research as well. Actually, that should be more advice for juniors, which I forgot to mention, but make sure you already know sort of what colleges you're wanting to apply to and the major. This advice I think is really helpful, but whenever you have either a prompt for a scholarship or your college essays, try to morph your previous essays as much as you can. Unfortunately, I don't know how they do in the US. I know they have like a common app website or something, but if there are questions specifically for universities, I would definitely recommend trying to come up with one essay and morphing the essay to fit many prompts, and that's what I did, and honestly it's gonna save you so much time. So for example, for one of my universities, a question was asked, I think it was name a time where you had to think outside of the box, and then I had another question which was what happens when you were in a unexpected situation. So for the same two prompts, I talked about starting a TikTok account, For my first prompt, the think outside the box, I talked about how it was meant for a school project, but I decided to do something, you know, a little more creative, start an account, and that's how I thought outside the box. And then for my second prompt, which was the unexpected situation, where I talked about how my account blew up and how I balanced, you know, all other thing that was happening with that account. So really, you can morph your essays to basically fit many prompts, so that's something I definitely recommend you doing so that you don't have to rewrite like 10,000 essays. Okay, waiting for college decisions. Remember that college does not define your success. Really, it's what you choose to do with your life and as you're in college. Like I've mentioned before, there are two main universities in my area. I didn't get into the more known one. It didn't matter because either way, I did research and the percentage of getting a job after college in my area was the same for both universities. So trust me when I say that the university you go to does not matter as much as you think it does. Remember that what's meant to be will be, and maybe you were never meant to go to your dream college after all. Honestly, like I've seen people say that their dream college was not what they thought it'd be and it was disappointing. So don't really romanticize a college. Remember that everyone has their upsides and flaws, and just, you know, make the best of what you have and get excited for whichever college you're going to, even if it's not your dream one, because it's so incredibly big deal going into university, taking a, you know, a new step into your next step into the chapter of your life. So it's incredibly exciting, and just get excited. Go to events, go to trips with your friends. Just enjoy this last year because it's gonna pass by, and those little things like the grad events are what you're gonna remember, not, you know, the grades you got. But that is all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got some helpful information out of it. But that is the end of this video. Honestly, my throat hurts so much from talking. I've been talking for like 30 minutes and it's probably gonna cut down to 15 minutes, so whatever. But make sure you like and subscribe, and next week I have an advice for IB student video coming out, so if you're an IB student as well, you might want to watch that. And just stay tuned for more school themed vlogs, and just stay tuned for summer vlogs. I have a bunch of things planned for this channel, so I hope you stick around. And yeah, goodbye. My throat hurts so much.